Hello, I'm Hannah, and this is Hannah's Books. Several weeks ago, I went to Boston, Massachusetts for a week to visit some favorite people and places there, including my son Abe and the great booktuber Steve Donahue. I've already put out a couple of Boston videos, but I have quite a bit more footage of my amazing adventures there still to come. Today, I thought I would share with you my trips on different days to the gorgeous Boston Public Library and also to the phenomenal Boston Athenaeum. I'll talk for just a minute about each library and then show you some of the video I took there, including some awkward peeks of me reading and writing in those libraries. Before I show you, I want to mention the music that I plan to put behind the footage of me reading. I talked in a tag not too long ago that while I used to be able to read with absolutely anything going on around me, in more recent years I've struggled to read, at least with any serious attention, if other people were talking around me, or if there was music with lyrics, or anything actually. Pretty much the only music I could play back when I study or write or read are Bach lute suites played on guitar. That was a slight exaggeration. I can also listen to Bach cello suites, but that's about it. Very recently, one of you viewers told me that I could use Bach cello suites as background if I had a subscription to one of those websites that clears creators to use a variety of music without risking copyright strike. It's called Epidemic Sound. This is not an advertisement. I don't use much music in my regular videos, and I don't think that a subscription would make any sense for me. But I did check out the website, and it turns out you can get a free 7-day trial. And any video you put up during that trial will stay protected, even if you never pay for a subscription. So I took the free trial plunge. And in this video, you'll hear some Bach, even though, of course, I did not hear Bach when I was reading in the beautifully quiet libraries. If any of you are interested in doing something similar, I'll leave a link down below. Again, this is not a paid advertisement. Anyway, my first stop one morning was the main branch of the Boston Public Library, founded in the mid-19th century. The main building, which I'll show you in just a minute, was built a few decades later, around the end of the century. It was sometimes called the Palace for the People and includes Beaux-Arts architecture and everything from raw marble lions honoring Civil War veterans from Massachusetts regiments to mural cycles by a variety of artists, including John Singer Sargent. And of course, there is a lovely interior courtyard with a fountain that was considered absolutely scandalous at the turn of the century, of a nude and dancing woman grasping wine grapes, symbolizing the imbibing of alcohol, while holding an infant child. One of the things I love about this library is that it's one of only 2 specifically public libraries in the United States to be named a research library, along with the New York Public Library. And the research collection is especially strong in topics that are connected to Boston and its roots, everything from the history of colonial Boston to the abolitionist movement to Irish history, but also other important manuscripts, including one of Shakespeare's first folios. But for today, I was only there to sightsee, which of course included doing a little bit of reading in the beautiful reading room, Bates Hall. Incidentally, I'm reading a short analysis of F. Scott Fitzgerald's The Great Gatsby, put together by Kathleen Parkinson and published by Penguin Critical Studies back in the late 1980s. More on that book another time. Well, the other library I visited during this trip on a different day was the Boston Athenaeum. What a stunning place, as I'll show you in just a minute. It's one of the oldest independent libraries in the nation, founded right at the start of the 19th century. Unlike most libraries, it's a membership organization, and members pay an annual fee, which for individual adults is less than $500. Member libraries were not uncommon before the system of public libraries began in the States, and there are several still in existence in New York, Philadelphia, etc. For a small fee, tourists and other visitors can visit just the first floor. If you have a museum membership for your local museum, it might get you in for free, as it did for me. That first floor is really lovely and has a variety of comfortable places to read and work. For a slightly larger amount of money, you can get a day pass for $40 that gives you access to all the areas as well as all of the resources. I splurged and did exactly that. For most of my week in Boston, I was walking around town almost all day long, but I took this one day to do some work as well as some reading at the Athenaeum. I am so glad I got the day pass just to be able to see some of the other parts of the stunning library. And the experience of getting to do some work there really felt incredible. I'll tell you a lot more about this soon, but I'd been thinking about finding somewhere outside my house where other people were working to go to regularly in DC. And my day at the Athenaeum absolutely convinced me that I should do exactly that and do it regularly. And it persuaded me that going to a beautiful place filled with serious readers would be perfect. More on that eventually. Well, the Boston Athenaeum is filled with books and art everywhere you look. There are 5 main floors, plus half levels, absolutely filled with bookshelves arranged around the outer edges of the rooms. The half levels have heavy glass floors, and I must admit that looking down made me feel a little queasy. Each of the main floors has a bit of a different approach. For example, one has a large number of periodicals. Another houses many works of history as well as historical documents. One contains a bookcase holding George Washington's personal library. And the top floor is a silent space. And while I was hoping to work there, it was already absolutely packed when I arrived, with members who I suspect work at the Athenaeum regularly. And a community has really formed there. The library has actively encouraged that social element by providing small group seating areas in set-aside nooks, other areas where members can eat the lunches they brought or even use the members' kitchen, and a top floor terrace with gorgeous views of downtown Boston. So let me take you on a little tour of the building. Well, that will do it for today's installment of Literary Boston. There is yet more to come over the next few weeks. Thank you so much for joining me today here on Hannah's Books. See you soon.